What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greg's TV Daily Rewind. This is where we go back and we can give you the past 7 days of tech news in your one single video. I said that kind of wrong, but regardless, it's a lot of information in this week. So a lot of stuff covered in about the S23 and some potential issues, how trade-ins, if people are happy or sad about some of that stuff that's going on. We talk about S24 getting Isim/Esim transfer features that are coming over. We also talk about some super fast 5G coming to the S23, Z Fold 4, Z Fold 3, and Z Fold 2 issues. So much more, guys. Enjoy this week, and we'll see you in the next one. Without further ado, we got basically two big stories, and they are new Samsung products, and they have just been trademarked. We've known about these products for the most part, but now we have actual names for these products, and I am excited definitely about one of them, possibly two of them. So without further ado, let's jump into this. So the products are going to be a smart ring and also some smart glasses. Now, let's dive a little bit into this more. So here's the headline right here. The headline says that Samsung glasses and Samsung ring could be coming soon to rock our world. Now, we don't really fully know what these products are going to look like, but we do know what they're going to offer in terms of features, at least some of the features in a roundabout kind of way. So some of the features that these are going to offer are, especially on the Samsung ring, again, this is just, think of a wedding ring or any ring that you would wear, except this is gonna be electronic, which there are these products out there, but Samsung doesn't have one out. So it says smart devices for measuring health indicators and sleep in the form of a ring. And then you see smart rings and then smartphones. So with that smart ring, it'll be a ring that you put on just like any other ring, very small. And with it, you'll be able to track, how much you walked or what your heartbeat was or your pulse, or how much sleep you got. This should get days and days of battery life, maybe a week or two. This is not going to most likely have a display on it. It'll really just be for capturing information and then feeding it to your phone, and then your phone deciphering it in the Samsung Health app or whatever app that it's compatible with, so that you can capture that data and track it in that regard. I don't know if there'll be something on there to allow you, like when you get a notification, it'll buzz or something. Obviously that would kill the battery a little bit more and not probably give you the full, weeks or days of battery life on there. But I would want that as an extra feature, that it would do some kind of movement or flash or something on there, so I knew I got a notification, so I didn't have to, so I just know what was going on with my phone. Otherwise, if it just captures data, I think people will like that. It's a little less intrusive in your life and less controlling of, you always having to look down at your watch, for instance, when you get a notification or see something. This would literally just be capturing information. But again, I would want the extra step of it being able to let me know things are going on my phone as well. Now, what about the glasses? These are most likely going to be Samsung's glasses that are extended reality, meaning they connect to your phone most likely via USB-C. I don't think they have any technology that can force it to go to your glasses yet wirelessly. I mean, they could do it via Wi-Fi, but Bluetooth I don't think has enough bandwidth for it. And what we know about the glasses are, one, smart glasses, like I mentioned. They connect to your smartphone. They're a headset for augmented reality experiences, and they have speakers built in because it says headphones. So let's talk a little bit about that. So they're gonna have speakers in there so you can hear sound. Again, and there's glasses like this already in the market. I've covered these glasses on the market. Nreal makes glasses like this. TCL makes glasses like this. This isn't a new product. It's a new product for Samsung. And you can hear the sound through the glasses. They have like little speakers built into the frame of the glasses. The other part of it is you would wear this, if it's for augmented reality purposes, that would mean you could theoretically wear it out and about while you're walking around and get information. It maybe Google Maps is feeding it information so that when you're walking around, you're like, oh, there's Papa John's or there's McDonald's and it has 3 out of 5 stars. Like it potentially is going to be able to do things like that, which is very game changing. There's not a lot of glasses like that currently on the market. They're coming out slowly, but there's nothing really like that fully on the market. And then the other part of it is you could connect them to your phone, and when they're connected to your phone, you can watch videos, you could play video games on it, and you have this huge, 130-inch display in front of you. So far, they've been at 1080p it'd be great to see the 4K to be even more crisp and beautiful. But there's some really cool functionality in this. And this generally, like I know my other glasses I have from Nreal, they can hook up to video game consoles. They can hook up to basically anything that has HDMI, and I can view whatever would display on my TV. Instead, it would display on these glasses. So I assume these will probably offer something very similar to that. The story of the day is about the Nothing Phone 2. Nothing Phone 1 has been out for probably about a year now, and it just has recently come out to be available to be ordered in the USA. The Nothing Phone 2 should launch in the United States. And if you don't remember, it's head by Carl Pye, who helped run OnePlus, and a bunch of other things he's released as well, from products for Nothing Phone. They have their Nothing Buds and all these other products as well. Nothing Phone 2 though, we've talked about this phone a little bit, which processor is gonna be inside. I think a lot of you are gonna be very happy about this. The information that's coming out is that it will come with a Snapdragon 8 series chipset. Now it'll either be the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or last year's 8 Plus Gen 1, which are both fantastic processors and offer a lot of performance. And to go along with the cool lighted up background of the Nothing Phone 2, this is looking to potentially, I mean, it's not going to be a huge seller because you'll probably only be able to order it through the carrier or through Nothing directly, or if you can buy it directly, like who's going to buy this phone? A lot of people still won't. They have to make a name for themselves first, especially with everyone buying mostly Samsung and Apple phones. But we'll keep our eye on this one. Very cool stuff coming from Nothing Phone very, very soon. Next up, as you can see from the headline, a foldable smartphone coming from OnePlus is coming in 2023. It's going to end up being the second half of 2023, this folding phone. And they go on to say that it's their first foldable smartphone and will offer fast and smooth experience that is typical of OnePlus. It has to be a flagship device and doesn't rest on its foldable form in terms of industrial design, mechanical technology, and other aspects. We want to bring to market a device that will be at the forefront of today's foldable market. Now this, I am excited about this because I love foldable phones, and they basically are the same company as Oppo. So you would have to expect that when they do release their foldable phone, it's probably going to look something very similar to this, which is also a quite similar form factor to the Pixel Fold that's coming out later this year as well. So second half 2023, OnePlus foldable phone. I love it. I still feel like this is the future of phones. This and wearable glasses are the future of phones within the next 5 or 10 years. 10 years probably for the glasses. Next up is a technology that I know a lot of you are looking forward to, and myself am just very curious about, and that is slidable phones. Well, Samsung has shown off their slidable solo phone at MWC, and TMobile has captured a video of it. I'll put it down below the link like I do all my news stories in case you want to read them further in depth. And this one is a device that, again, I think a lot of people would be at least interested, intrigued by, to see how it is. I can see millennials or Zoomers being a little bit turned off by how slow it opens and closes, but at the same time kind of being like, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't see this being a hugely big selling phone. If it comes out as a phone, I see this more as a tablet technology. I can totally see it as a tablet. As a phone, I don't know. Yes and no. But first story of the day has to do with my trade-in for my Galaxy S23 Ultra. So I bought the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I traded in my S22 Ultra. A lot of you guys, a handful of you guys, maybe more than a handful or two, have had issues with the trade-in for your Galaxy S23 Ultra. You traded in your device. Samsung came back to you guys and said, hey, it's cracked. The back is broken, the front is broken, something's broken with the phone. And you're like, no, it isn't. I made sure it was good. There was no problems with it at all. And then you told that to Samsung either via chat or the phone, and they came back and said, oh, you know what? We looked at the video, you're right. And it created a sour taste in my mouth, even though I'm about to talk about my end of the story, and other people's as well. Because I think, like, take the due diligence. Like, if I know a third-party company's handling the trade-ins, but if they're coming back with negative stuff in terms of like, okay, it's broken, before the customer even gets to that point where they have to say, call you guys, Samsung should be verifying by QCing, quality control, that information if the third-party company that Samsung's hiring is saying it's broken, Samsung should be looking at the video of the trade-in that went on and being like, okay, it's not broken, and then send the information. Or if it is broken, send the information then, but don't send the customer this email saying, oh, it's broken, and then you have the customers to call back and you guys. And some of these people probably don't even know they can call in and get that reversed. That's the other part of it. That's what's sad about this. My story, though, is actually positive. I didn't have any issues. The information I got back was, we're happy to inform you that the S23 Ultra 512 gigabyte unlock trade-in related to your order was successful. It qualified for the full $500 trade-in value you received during your purchase. Again, I heard from a bunch of you people, and I saw people on Twitter, some of my friends that are also tech creators had this issue as well. So I'm glad it was okay for me, and hopefully it'll clear up as time goes on, but really a sad moment in terms of customer service. Now, one of the big things about the iPhone that people might hate is that it comes with eSIM only, especially the 14 Pro Max. You can only use eSIM, and it's a pain point, and it didn't happen when it came out with the Galaxy S22, S23 phones. It still had SIM in it. You can do eSIM or regular SIM. I have a really good feeling that's going to go away. I suspect that in the S24, and definitely by the S25, but probably by the S24, regular SIM cards will be a thing of the past. The reason being, there's a couple of technologies coming out. The first one was announced just recently at MWC, and it was by Snapdragon, about Isim. And Isim is a technology where the SIM chip is embedded in the processor of the phone, and it does a couple of things. It takes up less room of the phone, so they can, I guess, expand the battery or make components bigger or add more components. The other thing it does is it gives better performance with the phone. Like it uses less battery. It's in that regard, so it's more its power consumption is less. The third thing it does is it helps with like water resistance and things like that. So there was a couple of key technologies that came out with that. So expect eSIM to be replaced by iSIM probably as early as next year. Now, iSIM is very similar to eSIM. It's still going to be called and used the same exact way. It's going to be an electronic SIM card. It won't be a physical SIM card. So all of that, the way you do eSIM now will be the same with iSIM. It's just that iSIM's a little bit different in the terms of the way it's embedded into the phone. The other part of this is Samsung's probably going to get this part, which is really nice as well. And you can see from the headline, One UI 6.0 to bring eSIM transfer tool to your Samsung Galaxy device. Now, One UI 6.0 will also be known as Android 14. Android 14 is bringing with it this transfer tool. So what happens is, I don't know if it's probably during the transfer setup and also after the transfer setup if you need it to be, but basically you'll have a little app that will transfer the SIM card information from your old phone to the new phone so that you don't have to always go through your carrier to activate your new phone with a new SIM card number. It'll just like a tool will just automatically do that for you. That's going to be it's a much needed feature, and it's going to be a much helpful feature too, because one of the pain points about eSIM is that you have to log on to your carrier's app or call your carrier, read them the new SIM number from the phone. You won't have to do any of that. You'll just go on the new phone and old phone and transfer the information from the old one to the new one, and it will automatically activate the new phone on the carrier. So very nice little service coming within One UI 6.0. First story of the day has to do with this, a very exciting development coming from T-Mobile, where they have just launched their 3 gigabit per second network. It runs on their 5G network, and the first phones to take advantage of these speeds are the Galaxy S23, 23 Plus, and 23 Ultra, and they're really, really fast. Here is a speed test that my friend Rida, Samsung Rida, or Chris, whatever you want to call him, has come out with. He got 1 gigabit per second on the T-Mobile network. Now, this hasn't rolled out absolutely everywhere, and it's only working currently with S23 phones, and I think beta versions of iPhone 14 Pro Max. It'll come to more phones, iPhone and Android, but right now, only one it's officially with is the S23 line of phones. Super fast speeds. Check them out, see if you got them, but they're really, really fast. Next up is about the Galaxy Watch 6 watches. Now, the Watch 5 watches, especially the Pro version, have really, really good battery and really big batteries in them for that. They'll last days and days and days. Well, it looks like the Galaxy Watch 6 is bringing with it that same battery life and stepping it up a tiny bit notch higher. So currently, the battery sizes in the Watch 6 are 300 versus 284 on the Watch 5. And then on the Watch 6, the bigger one, the 44 millimeter, you're looking at 425 milliamps versus 412 on the Galaxy Watch 5. So again, a little bit bigger, meaning you'll probably get a little bit better battery life now, which is absolutely ridiculous because you're already getting days and days with the Galaxy Watch 5 and 5 Pro. And to add more to that is just, again, I think it's completely insane. Next up is about One UI 5.1 on the Galaxy Z Fold 4. And if there's any issues with it, currently we've heard about battery drain issues in some of the phones. And there's an article out by TMobile saying there's battery drain on the Z Fold 4. I've been using it for over maybe about a week right now, and I haven't really, it seems exactly the same, maybe even a little bit better than it previously was on One UI 5, but 5.1, again, it seems pretty similar, if not a little bit better. It definitely doesn't seem worse at this point. There was even one day this week I was like, whoa, this battery life lasted me all day, and it kind of did, and I guess I didn't really use, my screen on time was still about like 4 or 5 hours, something like that. But still, it was a lot better. It lasted longer throughout the day and me not having to charge it than any time in period, but it's kind of caught up and it's kind of normal where I have to charge it in the middle of the day to get it back up and going. But yeah, story is all about things that are going to happen most likely in 2023 with foldable phones. Now, things to look forward to, changes coming to certain specific foldable phones, and what can be looked forward to and what can be exciting about that as a whole, because folding phones, I still feel like, are the future, near future, of where a lot of the changes and the excitement is going. You know, we've gone so far and as far as we can go with these kind of phones. They're perfect in a lot of ways in terms of how we use them and battery life and features and all that. But sometimes it's good to push the envelope. It's good to go to that next step. If once you start saying, you know, we're good, we're perfect, that's when things stop and they get boring and dull real quick. So let's talk about this. This is a tweet coming from Yogesh Brar, who has put out a tweet saying that foldables this year are quite interesting, and he puts a list of different foldables and some of the features that are coming to them that are going to make them a little bit more exciting. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 will get that bigger cover display. So on the outside, you'll see a bigger display covering up basically the whole top half of the phone where the camera is. OnePlus Fold gets a circular triple cam, but not only does it get a circular triple cam, it's also just going to be a new product from OnePlus. So that's quite exciting on its own. Xiaomi Mix Fold 3 is going to fit a quad cam setup with super zoom on there. So if you want a really, really far zoom on your foldable phone, maybe the Mi Mix Fold 3 would be just for you. Oppo is moving towards a bigger display for the future Fold. I've done multiple videos on that Oppo Find N2, and they're going to be making it again more of a bigger display on there. And then the Find N2, which is just the same as the Oppo Find N2, which I just spoke of, is going to have a Pixel Fold type cousin to itself, because Pixel Fold coming out will have a very similar design, which we've mentioned before, to the Oppo Find N2. It'll be a little bit different. I think it's a little bit bigger if I remember correctly. Wider, taller, wider, a little bit taller, wider than this phone. But yeah, that's what gets me excited in this kind of tech that I talk about. Mobile technology, it's the foldable devices, it's that kind of stuff. I know it's not for everybody, but that's where I feel like a lot of the excitement is with phones lately. What do you guys think? Do any of those phones get you excited, or any of them that you're gonna get? Obviously, we didn't mention the Galaxy Z Fold 5 because, you know, that's his list. But the things that are coming out for that, in terms of what's exciting about the Galaxy Z Fold 5, which again, I'm very excited for it, are gonna be probably a lot of the same things in terms of the way it is. I mean, obviously some of the things will be different. The camera will be different, the processor, things like that. But is it gonna be physically a lot different? That remains to be seen, and we've heard some things that it might not. So first story of the day has to do with the Galaxy Z Fold 5. It's some concept renders that have been created and potentially what it will look like. Now, don't get too excited because it looks very similar to what the Z Fold 4 potentially looks like as well. So here we go. And it just shows off a bunch of the renders of, again, what this could potentially look like. The biggest thing for this would be the new hinge on there, the water drop hinge, which would basically keep this a little bit smaller in terms of the thinness and potentially the weight as well. But overall, the design of what you see with the phone, like the front screen and the inside display, all that stuff looks very similar. Now, these are just concepts. It doesn't mean it's going to exactly look like this, but this is what the artist thinks that it's going to look like with the Infinity O display. And again, that basically same size display and all that. And the cameras look very similar as well. Nothing too exciting in terms of looks, but what do you think so far for this Galaxy Z Fold 5? Next up is about the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, if you look anywhere, you're hearing basically amazing information about this phone from people that have it and people that, basically they love the camera, they love the battery life, they love the performance, they love the phone in general. But what about someone that's having an issue? I have to admit, I am not having this issue. I don't know anybody in my life, have them be close or near or far, or you guys, that has this issue either. But there is someone on Reddit that is having some performance issues, saying S23 Ultra already feeling sluggish after 2 weeks of use. Phone worked perfectly until 2 days ago. Now it suddenly started gradually dropping frames for no reason. I'm very sensitive to frame refresh variants. I have an A52s as well, which feels smoother than this. No new apps have been installed. Changing the performance profile and resolution didn't help. The phone was set up from scratch, no smart switch. Might have to reset it to see if it fixes everything, but this doesn't give me too much hope for the phone down the line. Anybody seeing similar behavior? Went from smooth as butter to smoothness similar to my 4-year-old OnePlus 7T. And I didn't really notice anybody else in the comments saying they had an issue. And he's obviously saying that the issues with his phone, they do seem to be a one-off. So I don't think this is a general mixed bag of people that are having a lot of issues with this, because I personally haven't heard from you guys. I haven't seen it online. Really, it's really been nothing but pretty much positive reviews about this phone thus far. And beyond that, it really tells the story that he probably has, you would think he has some kind of setting on, or some app is doing this, or he just has a dud. That could be a thing too. Maybe there's just software-wise, there's some kind of bug he has that creates this sluggish behavior, and he does need to reset it, or his phone's just a dud, like I said. So I would hopefully that'll get fixed for him in due time. And both of our stories today are about the Galaxy Z Fold line and some issues that are happening with these phones, and just to potentially get the word out there and potentially what you should do if you have these issues, because they're kind of weird issues. They're happening with everything from the Galaxy 2, 3, and 4. So keep that in mind. If you have one of these phones and you have this issue, it may be a somewhat, and I mean somewhat, common occurrence. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first one is having to do with the camera on here. When you open up the camera app, the issue is potentially people on their outer front-facing camera are getting camera failed. Now, I have to admit, I have had this error in the past. And when I've had this error, all I've had to do is, and I've had it with Galaxy phones, restart the phone, it fixes it, I'm good to go. This person doesn't have such luck. They've gone through a bunch of settings on their phone, they reset their camera. They're basically being told to reset the phone at this point, but they can't get that outer camera to work. So really, the way it should go is with an issue like this, again, restart the phone. If that doesn't work, then you'd probably want to reset the camera settings in the phone. If you go into the camera app and go into the settings there, you'll see reset camera app, and you can reset all the settings in there. That potentially would fix it. If that still didn't fix it, you could potentially wait for an update If you don't want to wait for an update, then your next solution would be just to factory reset the phone. If it still does it, then you have something wrong with the phone. You probably have to look at potentially going to Samsung for further assistance. Now, the other issue is this one. This is kind of a weird one. This guy, when his Fold 4, when he opens it, when he folds it in, after it's been opened, the phone crashes and it basically just restarts, and he has to go back in there and turn it on, or it'll just, again, just automatically reboot. Now, someone mentioned that there's probably an issue with the ribbon cable inside, that it's loose, and that's why it's not consistent. When sometimes he opens it and closes it, it stays on, and then other times when he opens and closes it, it completely turns off. So potentially this is probably, even if, and he's reset his phone, I know that. He's gone through a bunch of settings. Everything still causes the same issue. So for him, it sounds like a hardware issue. It sounds like he would have to send that off to Samsung in order to get it fixed. I haven't had either one of these issues consistently. The camera failed, I have had the issue once in a while, but again, a restart fixes it. The rebooting of the phone, just because I open and close it, doesn't happen to me at all. But it is good things to know, get the word out about this stuff on a larger scale via this video. But let us know in the comments down below, have you had any of these issues and what you did to fix them? Let me know in the comments down below. Without further ado, let's jump into our Q&A. First question comes from P. She's basically saying that loves the channel, thank you so much, and that he switched from the OnePlus 8 Pro to the S23 Ultra and he loves the phone, but he's having some issues where no matter which mode whenever he shoots in 50 megapixels or 200 megapixels, and if it's RAW, Expert, or JPEG, each shot is always processed and adds these really warm colors and contrast, and sometimes increases the exposure. I've noticed that too, that with the Galaxy phone, that even just regular image, they tend to come out more warm than even the last generation. I personally haven't seen much to rectify the issue either. I know you turned off Scene Optimizer and HDR and reset the camera app and everything. You spoke to Samsung and they said similar things to do. I don't have a solution for you. I know that when you get a Samsung phone, they generally do certain things with the colors, and it's just like any camera company phone. Just like Pixel does it, maybe a little bit darker, and then Samsung sometimes has theirs more brighter, but this year a little bit more warm. I like my pictures more cool looking. But yeah, I don't have a solution for you, unfortunately. And our last question from Lionel. Hey Greg, USB-C is coming to your iPhone 15 models. Do you think in order to get good charging speeds that it will only work by buying Apple's charging brick? No, I don't. Whatever their charging speed will be, have it be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 watts, you should be able to use whatever chargers on the market that can do that amount of wattage and get that full potential out of it. Thank you so much. If you have a question, leave it in the comments down below with the hashtag question. We'll see you down the road.